Yeah. Uh-huh. 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 Yeah. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Yeah. Uh-huh. 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 Yeah. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah. Uh-huh. 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 Yeah. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Yeah. Uh-huh. 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 Uh-huh.
Good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon. I want to welcome you to today's edition of Good Grief. And as we always say, this is a healthy journey through grief. And we want you to definitely know you are not alone. And with that, I want to say good afternoon to those of you that are out there. I see you, the Rebel Inc. So much love coming to you. I see you and thank you for coming in, Joanna G. 98. So much love coming to you. One and only Mrs. Cox, so glad to have you with us on today. And KK79, we appreciate you for being in the room, and for all of those that are on the way, so much love to you coming from the Lion's Den. And with that, I want to also appreciate and say good afternoon to our two beautiful, beautiful hosts, Crazy Berry Town and Kim Possible 711. Good afternoon to you all, ladies.
Hello.
Hello. How are you?
Start already.
Love it. Yes, yes, yes. These two beautiful divas are just the absolute best. Tell us what's going on in your world, ladies.
Kim, what's happening with you?
Praise report. My dad finished his radiation this week after 8 weeks.
Awesome.
Yes.
So he was able to ring the bell on Tuesday.
Oh,
So
that's
hallelujah.
beautiful.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Jesus.
Wow.
We've got a couple of other things to do, but for the most part, we're claiming victory in Jesus' name.
Oh my God. That's
Yes,
huge. That's
beautiful.
huge.
How
Congratulations.
does he feel?
You know, my mom was like, I didn't even know about this bell situation. She didn't know what that was. So I had her to give the nurse her phone to record it so I could get it on film. So I have to share that with you guys. But yeah. I mean, honestly, as I said before, that part was just not, I was not stressing about that at all, because I just felt like he was going to come through that. It was going to be fine. It's just something he needed to go through. But when it's all said and done, all is going to be well. So
yeah, and look at where we are. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
And
That's
those
beautiful.
8 weeks flew by.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, it was yesterday that we had the conversation that you were going to have to start the treatment, and it's like 8 weeks already. That is just, oh my God, that was just unbelievable, unbelievable.
Yep.
I thought that when I saw your post, that when I said already, I was like, yay, but wow, that really, like STL said, it seemed like it was yesterday.
Yeah.
So what a blessing, though. I hope that your dad, I hope he's, feeling, if he's not feeling great today, but because I know radiation is it's a process, it's a situation, but I hope he's feeling better soon, and prayers for full recovery and restoration.
Yes.
We're just so happy that he's gotten through this.
Yep. So thank you for your prayers, your cares, your concern throughout this journey. Appreciate it.
And Mom had a birthday the other day, right?
Yep.
Yeah, she had a birthday on Wednesday. So we will continue to celebrate tomorrow. We're going to Richard Smallwood, and one of my old choir directors is in concert at St. Philip's AME tomorrow. And so initially she was like, I'm gonna go. I don't want to leave your dad by himself. Then she texted me after that appointment, go ahead and get the ticket. Yes, I will. So we got a little date tomorrow night for her to go see. Just get out the house.
I love it.
Nice. Yeah, that's really nice. I'm glad she decided to go. She needs that.
Yes.
Yeah, she does. We had a good conversation yesterday about, she really does need to accept the help. My dad could go to like the adult daycare during the day, which could give her some space, but she's just kind of been holding the reins. She doesn't really want to do that, but I guess after these 8 weeks of having to take him, I think she's kind of ready to kind of accept that, okay, this is what it is. Maybe I can get some help around here with him.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, that's big.
Yeah, that's huge.
Yes.
So.
Rebel said, "Happy birthday, Mama Possible."
Yes. I will let her know, because she's on Facebook, so she's always looking at all of the people who have said something. She's gonna tell me how many people have commented and all of that.
Oh, that's
Yes,
sweet.
I shall tell her.
Awesome.
That's
Awesome.
sweet.
Awesome. Crazy Berrytown, what's going on crazy in Crazy Berrytown?
Crazy all the time. Yeah.
Can we talk about
Yeah.
your post with Captain Boots on Instagram? Giving you the side eye, like
He is so unbothered. Like he is just unbothered by my foolishness. Like I think he's just used to it. He's used to my craziness and shenanigans. And so yeah, he did give me the side eye. He did. But he was doing this math homework and actually he was really reviewing it. So I wasn't distracting him from doing it, although I'm sure it was even still distracting from the review. But I thought it was just kind of silly. And I said that. So then he was just kind of putzing. And so I just decided to sing, if you don't get your homework done, I'm gonna jack you up or whatever. But yeah. And I don't know, I had the microphone near me and I was already singing I Know It Was the Blood anyway. And then I was just singing everything to that tune, including You Better Get Your Homework Done. So yeah, he's just, yeah. He's so unbothered.
The spirit of Rebel was loose because every song that you name off, it's to the tune of
Exactly. That's why I was so perfect.
And can I say you did your good playing on Monday night? You did your good playing. I heard some new notes. I heard some new rhythms.
Yes.
Heard some new stuff from you.
So now that I have down the first part, that first few notes of the Titanic theme, I think I need to figure out Rebel. Hint, I need help. I need to figure out how to get you a drop so you can play that on your stream. Although the original one is funnier to me though, but I feel like, I could really, sell my drops and stuff,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
We're going to do that. Mm-hmm.
I think you should sell them with Rebels jellies. Put all of that marketed together.
Jellies and
I'm going to remain quiet since Rebel thinks that I'm hazing her about her jellies. I am not hazing her. I just want her. I'm concerned about her safety out here in these streets with these jellies on. I mean, I just feel like it's going to attract the wrong kind of something. That's all.
I hear you. Farmer 22 Mo, welcome to the space on today. You have joined us here in Good Grief, and definitely you are not alone. Thank you so much for being here with us. Tall Pumps, I see you in good evening or good afternoon to you. I think it's beautiful that you're holding space. Definitely, we're still sending prayers up for Curious Jaw. And thank you for coming in and holding the space, as well as for Krisha Levin. And talking about her cat passed away, I do want to say, with no jest, I have done for members of the congregation funerals for people's pets because those animals are genuinely a part of their families. And I mean, we've had some beautiful, beautiful ceremonies for people's pets that have passed away. And that being said, I just want to acknowledge that with no humor or anything else. Thank you for being sensitive to the fact that Krish lost her pet, her family pet, and that can be very traumatic. And that is grief and it is loss. So thank you for your acknowledgement in that. I appreciate you.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you, Tall Pumps, for sharing that with us and the reminder you have mentioned before about Curious Jaw. And I'm going to reach out to her just to offer some love and condolences. So thank you for that. And again, and for holding space rather, for both of them and sharing that with us today.
Yes. T. Summers, we see you. Bethy Savage, 1988. I want to acknowledge you. Thank you for coming.
Everybody.
Man, good morning to all of you, or good afternoon, I guess I should say, to all of you. And with that, I'm going to relinquish my chit chat and chatter and turn it over to these beautiful ladies to go whatever direction they want to go today.
Yeah. So, I want to say, I loved our conversation. I've been thinking about it all week, actually. Our conversation in Discord last week after the show. So P.S., if you all are here and you don't know, after we do the live, on Twitch, we do the stream rather, not live, but the stream on Twitch, we move some weeks, almost every time, to Discord. STL has a Discord and then there's a space for us to chat afterwards for a little more intimate conversation, and then we can hear your voice too if you choose. You never have to say anything. You can just listen and lurk or whatever, but it is a place to speak if you choose to. But we had a conversation last week, and I said that coming up very soon, like in a matter of days, is my mom's birthday, and the anniversary is the next day of her passing. And I said, after 5 years, I said, I feel like I'm in the same place. And I felt like I was kind of, I don't know, maybe it came off like and maybe I feel that way too, that I was beating myself up for not feeling better or different. And STL really blessed me with, saying that maybe that's just what it's going to be, right? It's your mother. And in this case, to all who are hearing me right now, it's whoever you lost, that's important. That person is important to you. And that love and that relationship was important to you. And so maybe it won't get quote unquote better. Maybe it will always feel whatever way it is. So for me, I felt, and still do, I feel very heavy and raw. I still feel angry, and I feel like the same. And after last week, I literally felt like a weight had been lifted off of me in that regard of saying those words. I still feel the same. I'm in the exact same place I was, 5 years ago. Each year, I thought maybe it would get a little bit better or whatever, and it hasn't. And I'm good with that. Like I'm all right with that. Yeah. And it is what it is, right? And I say this here too, sort of like I need to put the mirror up to myself. I say, where there's great love, there will be great grief. And that grief may not change form, it may not, it just may be what it is for however long. And it's all good. It's all right. So the message for you all today who are listening is, if you feel like I felt that, maybe, and I know, so I've heard this too from people here. It's been 20 years and I just can't move the needle on my feelings, or I don't feel like I'm over it, so to speak. You don't need to. It's not necessary. If you miss your person or people, if you're sad, if you're hurt, if you're angry, whether it's year 1 or year 21 or 41, it's okay. It's okay. And that is what I love about what we have here, is that we can have those revelations together and then be a blessing to other people and relieve you of that. And I felt, STL, that you helped relieve me of that guilt. And just, like I said, I don't know. I don't know if I was beating myself up, but I felt some kind of way about it. And I don't today. I don't anymore. So thank you for that. I really do appreciate that blessing.
Yay. And I've been thinking about last week as well. And so I went back, I took to Instagram like I do from time to time after Crazy Beartown talked about just some of the groups that are out there. And I saw this quote that I think kind of fits with this. It says, the first year of grief isn't the hardest. It's simply the first. The following years are hard too, each unique and painful in their own way. Each year of grief is complicated, and each one hard in its own way. So I think that kind of speaks to, that's why I say grief has no expiration date. There's no just this point that you get to when all of a sudden things are just different and you're okay. There are days we'll be okay. There's days when you won't be okay. There's moments when you'll have joy. There's moments when you'll have tears, but you can't predict it. You can't regulate it. It just is what it is. And, we were talking about P-Valley this morning. And one of the quotes that Autumn Knight says about grief is that it doesn't go away. It just changes. Mm-hmm. And you never know how it's going to change. It's a fluid type of thing. So that's why it's so important to cut ourselves some slack. Because once you enter into a space of grief, it's a journey, and you do not know where that journey is going to take you. You do not know how long the journey is going to be. And I concur that the journey is a lifetime, because as long as you loved and lost someone, you're forever going to be missing that person. You're not going to just forget about them and move on. We talked about that some streams ago. You don't move on, you learn to move forward. But even in the moving forward, grief is going with you. The memories go with you.
Yeah.
So, the thing about this stream and just processing our grief is to know that this is a part of the human condition, and that we have to just support each other in whatever space or phase of it we're in. The goal is just to never act as if it didn't happen.
Right.
To try to shut it down, to act as if, well, I'm going to act like everything is fine. I'm going to be busy so I don't have to think about it. I'm going to go do this thing or that thing so that I don't have to cry or, feel sad or even angry, when all of that is a part of grief. So it's getting okay with the uncertainty of your emotions. It's really what grief
and I
is.
think that's hard for people. I think it is hard because some of it, we talk about this. So some of you who are, new for the first time, you're new today, or it's your first time, or maybe you missed a session. We talk about societal expectations and norms, and then also cultural. And so I think some of that suppressing, is maybe both. Maybe it is just our greater, maybe American society, you deal with something, and then when you bury that person, or you whatever it is, you're back to work the next day. You put the smile on your face. And then it's also, I think it's cultural and maybe familial, how your family or your culture deals with hard times, deals with grief. And I think as we grow and we become independent, we're adults, that stays with us. And so we guilt ourselves for our feelings. We live in what we've been conditioned to do and to believe. And it's hard. It's hard to turn that off. We're so used to that. And I think it is hard because it just won't turn off. I think that's the lesson, that it's not going to go away. And we have to accept that those feelings are real, they're valid. They're pure feelings. Again, that love, it's there. It's never going to go away. And when we realize that, then we won't keep sort of fighting against that current. It's not going to go away. And I think we need to realize that and not beat ourselves up, and not think about what my mama said, but my job told me I need to be back at this time. And, and society says, and my church says, just lay it on the altar, and I keep picking it up and I'm beating myself up. That's just not how it goes, So yeah, I totally agree with that, Kim.
Yeah.
Yeah, so tall pumps, sometimes we just want to not be in a grieving space. It feels hopeless to me, so I get busy trying to avoid it. Yeah, I agree with that. And I think that many probably can as well. So yeah, and I don't, and I'm not saying that people, you should be always in that grieving space. I think what happens for some, and this is not, I highly doubt this is the case for you, is that some people do that to just pretend like it's just not there, or pretend it's not happening. I think that's different than saying, I acknowledge the grief, I acknowledge the loss, or whatever this pain is, and I'm going to put one foot in front of the other. I'm going to live my life. I'm going to crochet, or I'm going to, meet with my friends, or whatever. But knowing that grief is still there, it's real, and those feelings are valid. I think, again, the other hand is where you just deny, and just you mask it and trying to do it away, and avoiding it altogether. So I think that, to me, is what the difference is.
Yeah. I just thought back, I live in movie scenes, right? So there's a scene in Respect when Aretha loses her mother.
Yep.
And she's
I know
trying
exactly
to
what you're talking
grieve,
about.
and her father doesn't allow her to.
Yeah.
Like he's trying to tell her, you don't, he doesn't want to deal with it. He doesn't want her to deal with it. But of course, she's a child. So, she holds that based
Yep.
on the movie her whole life, where she really just does not deal with it because she's been taught that I can't be sad. I can't acknowledge this loss. My heart is broken. I'm feeling some kind of way. And my own father, the pastor, is telling me I should not feel the way I'm feeling. And so I think it just does us a disservice. And so I think hopefully through this stream, we're able to help dispel the myths of I got to be strong. I have to hold it in. I can't let it go. It's a sign of weakness when I do this. I'm too, educated for this. I'm too whatever. No, God gave you tears for a reason. And there are spaces where you should be able to feel safe to grieve and to cry. And
Yeah, I agree.
It's not going to be in the moments that you think they ought to be. So one of my fail safes is Imitation of Life or any kind of movie that's automatically going to make me cry. When I know I need a good cry, for whatever reason, I can just fast forward to the particular scene that I already know that's about to help me get there. Just go with it. And if you want to blame it on the movie, blame it on the movie, whatever it is. But the point is to get it out.
Yeah.
I think our tendency to not want to expose isn't because we don't want to share our feelings. It's like, who can I share my feelings with? Because so many, I would venture to say most people that say, oh, it's going to get better as time goes by, is probably somebody that's not experienced a very close and traumatic loss. Otherwise, they know it's not going to just get better as time goes by. But it's easy to say that because it's cliche and I don't have to deal with your feelings. And people are not comfortable dealing with other people's raw feelings. They're just not comfortable. We're not taught to really sit with the person in that space. So like what I call a lot of times in our ministers in training, I say just ministry of presence. You don't need to say anything. You don't need to do anything. Just a ministry of presence, and learn how to be comfortable offering a ministry of presence, because many times that's all people need. So if I look at myself, I remember because my mother, I brought her home the last 3 days of her life on hospice care. But up to that point, from the time that she fell until I brought her home, I basically made all the decisions for her. So I did not feel out of order that at some point in my grieving process, I felt guilt because it was like, maybe I didn't make the right choices. You know what I'm saying? Maybe I had chosen this and asked the doctor to do that or whatever. So I was expressing that guilt to a friend who knows that I'm a minister, who said to me, oh, I rebuke the devil. That's just the devil. The devil is a lie. So I got that whole barrage of, religious energy. So I just quit talking. Because at the end of the day, there was no point in trying to have any further conversation with her. But if I'm already feeling guilt, I don't need you rebuking the devil and, making me feel like I have now crossed over into the path of an unbeliever. You know what I'm saying?
Right, exactly.
So it's just like, I just quit talking because I can't talk to you. But it wasn't that I wasn't ready to talk. It wasn't that I wasn't willing to talk. It was that I knew they were not ready to hear my talk and deal with it. So I just shut it down.
Yeah, that's very true. Because I'm over, we had a little bit of conversation about just the toxicity in the church earlier in your screen, STL. And that's part of it as well. People are so church that they don't even know how to be honest and real with a regular human being sitting in front of them.
Yeah.
Nobody is on 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and we are human. So when trauma happens, all you got to do is be present, period. That was the hardest thing I had to learn in seminary when I did CPE. I had to go into a room with somebody that was nonverbal. And I did not know what to do. And the answer was, you don't have to do anything.
Right.
Just be there. But it was uncomfortable to be in a space with somebody that could not talk to me. And could tell me how they were feeling or what they were experiencing. And I literally had to just make myself go in the room and sit.
Mm-hmm.
And when I came in, he was asleep. 2 minutes in, he woke up, looked directly at me, knew that I was there. I walked over and just held his hand.
Mm-hmm.
And his eyes did more talking than his voice
Yes.
ever could have.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so the thing is, we make it so hard and difficult when nobody's asking you for the answer, because you can't fix it.
Exactly.
You cannot bring somebody's loved one back.
Right.
But what you can do is be present with
Mhm.
someone who is lost a loved one, whatever the loss is, because it could be a job, it could be a divorce, it could be a relationship, it could be a pet, it could be whatever. But all you got to do
Yeah.
is be present.
Yes.
That's it. That speaks more than anything to
Mhm.
somebody, because they don't want to hear the fluffy stuff anyway. They don't want to
Right.
hear you with, the canned answers or phrases.
Yeah.
Just be present.
Mhm.
Yeah. I think that's why I didn't want to go to therapy, individual therapy at first, because going back a couple of sentences, what you said, that, it's not like they're going to bring that person back. And everybody kept encouraging me, particularly the leader of the the grief group that I was a part of. And she wasn't like, beating us over the head, but she was like, if you feel like you need to, I strongly recommend you go to, individual counseling or whatever, whatever. And, all I kept thinking is, what are they going to do for me? What can they say? There's nothing anyone can say. Unless this therapist is a magician and can raise Carolyn from the dead, I don't want to hear it. Like, I have nothing to, once I got past that and realized what I really wanted was the ministry of presence, and an ear, maybe. And I found someone that gave me a good combination of some tools to take away, but
Mhm.
then that just, because there were times where I would go and I'd literally cry for 30 minutes.
Mhm.
And they'd sit there, pass the tissue. They were very compassionate. And then they would, because I was afraid they're going to be like, something stupid, like, well, why are you crying? Well, what is, I was like, I don't want to go over here and cuss and act a fool or whatever. So I didn't go for a while, but I was afraid that they were going to ask something stupid. Well, why are you crying? Dig deeper into your feelings. And, I didn't want that. And
Mhm.
once I figured out what you said, Kim, that sometimes it's just the presence, it's just, you just want to be heard. I found the right person through some references, and I got what I needed, and it was a great match for me, because I'd always been afraid of it, just because I thought it was just going to be that cliche, like you just said, everything you just said, that cliche kind of thing, the canned questions. They're going to go down their list that they should. They're going to open up their book. Okay, I got a grief appointment today, so I should say this, this, this. I didn't want that. I didn't. I felt like what's the point? So
Mhm.
once I figured out what I needed in talking to some friends and another person who's a therapist, but they don't necessarily do grief, but they sort of talked me through what I felt like I needed and wanted. They said, "Oh, here, I've got a recommendation for you," and it worked out. Yeah, I read this quote earlier, but I was looking at the chat. I was just scrolling through the chat, and we were talking about. I see some comments about, going forward and, dealing with your grief. And sometimes it's hard. And you all remember very, very early on, I talked about how grief, it doesn't miss anyone. It's in our popular culture. I read a quote from Queen Sugar. And then I read a quote from the book Becoming by the best first lady, Michelle Obama. And she says, grief and resilience live together.
Mm.
I learned this not once as first lady, but many times over. Grief and resilience live together. So to me, I took that as you do get up every day. You put one foot in front of the other, and you try to make it, that day, and then you go to bed and you get up the next day. You do your job, you take care of your family, you take a shower, whatever. But that cycle, that movement, that going and that moving, just keeping, at it, your life, and grief. It doesn't say you put the grief over here and then you keep putting one foot in front of the other. You put your grief on a shelf or throw it out, and then you go on with your life and you raise your family. You make dinner every day. You go on vacations, but grief is over here. No, grief and resilience together every day. You're walking with that.
Yeah.
And again, I know grief doesn't miss anyone, but to read that from the First Lady, and this was after, of course, she left the White House. And can you imagine how she started talking about it was about how she lost her father. But then she talked about all of the grief she saw and experienced as being First Lady and holding space for other people, comforting other people, seeing people be resilient in their hardest times. So to me, that was so powerful to see something like that from the First Lady. A person again who was in the White House, First Lady, but to break it down in such a way that just an everyday person like me, right, could get that. And that's what I think is so great again about what we have here, is that we can be that for each other.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That was powerful. Almost like as you were saying that, the visual that came to mind was like grief is almost like a scar that you get, that you carry that with you for the rest of your life. It's there. A wound has occurred, but it's not going anywhere. It may heal over time, but the mark of it is still there.
Yeah.
So you have to learn how to move through life with it. It's not something you just take off and put on. It's not a piece of clothing that you can just take off and pick back up when you want. It's something that's just with you.
Yeah.
You're right. You're absolutely right. Yeah, I think that's a really great analogy. And again, I think it's something we can all identify with. I was just going back through some of the comments. Divorce, job loss, pet loss, loss of a family friend. It's no joke. There was something, and I can't find it. Anyway, I can't find it. But thank you all for sharing today. Your comments are amazing. I appreciate all the chat today. This is really great. Oh, that's what it was. Joanna G said, fear of judgment, fear of seeming weird, when we're grieving, grieving out loud, so to speak. There's that fear. And that is, I think, one of the things when I first started talking to STL about this, that's one of the things in that same vein that we talked about, is that people have fear in talking about their grief. Some people feel shame. And some people they don't have anywhere to take these feelings, right? We're all out here. Look, we all out here walking around with this grief, right? And many of us don't have an outlet. And so I think that's what I love so much about this space. Speaking of pop culture, public figures, but I don't know if you all know the actor Paul Sorvino. He was in Sopranos and a lot of mob movies and stuff. Great actor. But his daughter is Mira Sorvino. And she said on her Twitter, she said that something to the idea of, I don't want to quote, that now she's lost both of her parents. And her dad, she was very close to her dad. And that she's like, I didn't know. She's like, even with the loss of her mother, but now with her dad being so close, she really didn't get what grief was and like that heavy loss. And she said now she gets it. And she said that, and she was sharing that for her fans, or whoever was reading her Twitter. Somebody sent it to me, a screenshot. I don't follow her on Twitter, but she was saying that to say sort of like, again, I know I'm like a broken record here, but STL says this all the time, grief is the great equalizer. And she was saying, no matter my lot in life, whatever you do, whatever, that is what I've realized now, losing my dad, that has kind of brought us all together in some way or another. Grief is that thing that no matter where you're from, how much money you have, anything, grief is there, right? Grief is grief. And I just thought that was fascinating. And then finally, there was I don't know how recent it was, but I didn't know this. I don't follow Megan Thee Stallion that much. But apparently she lost her mother a few years ago, and there was an interview that came up, and she was talking about grief, and losing her mother at such a young age, and it was very Google it, Megan Thee Stallion on grief maybe, and she had some really encouraging words, but very real, and saying, I really went through a dark time, a really rough time. I'm I was a young woman trying to find my way, and then I lose my mom. But then she also had some very encouraging things for her fans who were reading that article. And there may have been a video attached to it or whatever. I'm not sure. If I find it, I'll put it in the Good Grief and Discord. But again, I just feel like, again, we all, in your presence here today and every week, is evidence that it is something that brings us all together in one way or another. Again, whether we are here to support someone else or to learn strategies and tips to help others, or for ourselves, we have all these ears, right? All these shoulders to lean on here. But whatever it is, we're all here because of some loss and because of grief. And it doesn't matter who we are, where we're from, what part of Twitch we're on, and what part of social media, whatever. That's the great equalizer, whether it's the First Lady, whether it's STL, whether it's Mira Sorvino, whether it's the Judd sisters. We've talked about them losing their mom, whether it's Kim Possible, whether it's me, the Rebel. That's the equalizer here. And I love that we have this. Yeah.
Beth, we're sending you all kinds of condolences and love. I know that's fresh. You've been battling for the last 3 weeks, and
oh wow,
very sudden onsets. Even as I see you down there, Joanna G, as far as your friend, and a very, very sudden loss and unexpected loss. So much love and condolences coming to you, dear. And I'm so glad that you joined us today. And I believe that you're going to hear and feel the love that's in the room here for everybody, yourself included. Crazy Berrytown, can you, or I don't want to put you on the spot, but the sudden loss, I think, is different. Yeah. And I don't know if there's anything there you can speak to. Or no.
Yeah, Beth, I'm so sorry. It makes me want to cry because I know. No, let me strike that. Rewind. I have a strong feeling about sudden loss, particularly of your mother. And it just touched me just reading that, because I know that feeling, and that anniversary is coming up on next Thursday. So my mom's birthday is the 24th of August, and she died suddenly the next day. So yeah, I don't have any advice or anything other than to say, whisper me, I have lots to say in that regard, in terms of, just chit chat and what, but if you need a shoulder privately, whisper me or holler at me in the Discord. But I don't know what it feels like. I know what it feels like to lose someone when they're sick, when you expect it. My dad, and I will say that was a little bit different. I was not super close to my dad. I only became close to him right as he was diagnosed with leukemia. But for me, to lose someone suddenly like that, it is devastating. And it's hard. It's hard to function. But I will say this. I will say that I feel like you have to, at least this has been 3 weeks, you have to kind of just do what works for now. Many of you know, you've heard my story about my 24 hours. Fill up those 24 hours. Don't think about, except for obviously if you're planning and doing things for, services and, things like that. But in terms of your feelings, don't do that big, broad, I don't know how I'm going to feel. I don't know how I'm going to make it. Just get through 24 hours. That's it. 24 hours. And that is how I didn't know this. I didn't plan it, but I've had some pretty major events happen in my life. And I've found the formula for me is 24-hour pockets. I was in the hospital for almost 100 days when I was pregnant with Captain Boots. And I had to be in the bed 23 hours a day out of those, And so the doctors would ask me, well, how did you get through this? Or how are you getting through it? You're on month 2 now, And I just said literally 24 hours a day, or at a time. That's it. I couldn't think about the next day and the next day. When my mom died, it's the same thing. I literally could not function. And the only way I got out of bed was just to think about, and not even really 24 hours, is really the next hour. So I think small increments of time for me is what helped me get through initially, at least I will even say the first like 6 months. It's hard. It is very hard. And I'm so sorry. I know for me how that felt. And it's weird. I just decided this year I'm going to avoid my memories in Facebook because, and you can click on them or not. Like, luckily they just don't pop up. Otherwise I'd just be off Facebook. But I clicked on some memories, and it's like right now is when right after she had the surgery, when she was okay. And I just said today in the memories, I had said, thanks to everybody for your prayers. They're working, da 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 da. And so to have that hope and that anticipation of her coming home, and then we get to the 25th, it's devastating to me. And it's like a gut punch all over again. I feel like.
It's okay.
Mm-hmm. What was the point of the prayers? What was the point of people's good vibes, right? And so I don't want to see that anymore. I don't want to, at least not right now. I don't want to see, because those were such happy times. I remember, again, driving home to come get Captain Boots to take him to the hospital, to take him back to Virginia. And I was so excited. And I remember saying, I said, dang, the prayers are working. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much. And then suddenly she's gone. And so I don't want to see those memories. It just makes me mad. So I'm not clicking on any more memories from now until the end of September. Yeah, I just think you have to do at this point whatever it is to protect your heart. Remember to eat a little something, even if it's peanut butter and jelly or a smoothie or something. Remember to eat and hydrate. I will say that it is very difficult to function, I think, when you have a sudden loss, at least in my case. And so you have to remember to take care of yourself. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So much love coming to you. So much love coming to you. Crazy Berry Town.
Yes. Hugs.
Yes. Virtual hugs. Mm-hmm. Just wrapping arms around you and just loving on you right now.
Appreciate you.
We appreciate you. Kim, you were sharing, you've had 2 experiences. Do you want to share or elaborate?
Yeah, when Joanna was talking about, she's lost a friend and, it just doesn't seem real. Lakita passed away 7 years now, 7 years. And I literally had texted her the day before, checked on her to see how she was feeling. She had been a little under the weather. It was bronchitis. She said she was good. She was going back to work on Monday. And I get a call the next day after I had been at another church ministering. They asked me to pull over in the parking lot. Had just gotten gas, and I pull over and they tell me she's not here anymore. And I'm like, what do you mean? She was here yesterday. She was fine yesterday. So how do we go from that? And I was in disbelief. Like my brain, it wasn't connecting. I was like, no, no, that's not what y'all talking about. I don't understand what just happened. And I literally sat in that parking lot for like an hour and a half because I couldn't drive home. I was in Snellville, so I was 50 minutes away from home. Then I finally got myself together enough to drive home, and I came home and I sat on the sofa, and I think I was there for the rest of the day. I forgot to eat. I forgot to go to the bathroom. I forgot to do anything. I was in shock. And I had just started pastoring at the time. And I remember one of the my lay leader and my spiritual mom calling me, and she was like, well, don't worry about, we got everything on Sunday, because this was a Saturday. And I couldn't go to the house that night because I was just in disbelief. And the next day, me and my mom did go over, pull up, and she passed at the house. She ended up dying from a blood clot from some medication that she had been taking, which, interestingly enough, she had texted us the list of all the stuff she was taking. So literally that Saturday before I could go to bed, I had to come up with a reason in my mind in order for me to be kind of at peace about it. So I researched all the medications, and I realized that it was because of the medication that she was taking. Because it said, if you have this issue, this can cause blood clots. And I was like, well, that's what happened. And of course, the coroner's report went back, and that's exactly what happened. But I was just a wreck. And people are like, well, you're going to have to do the eulogy. I'm like, no, I'm not. No, I'm not. I'm a grieving friend, and somebody else is going to have to do this. So, pastor or not, I just lost my best friend. How am I going to get up and proclaim anything to anybody when I'm in need? I need words of comfort at this point. Right. So her music teacher from high school, Elder Bridges, who had done several of our choir retreats and all of that, actually did the eulogy for her services, because I needed to be with my friend circle during that time so we could grieve together. And I remember my member saying, well, you're going to have to be the pastor in the room. And I said, I don't mean no harm, but no, I'm not. I'm not. I'm not signing up for that. I'm not going to fake like I can do that. So, and as it worked out, Elder Bridges was able to come from Chicago and handle the services because I was not in any shape to do it. So, yeah. And then I lost another friend to cancer, and I'm still mad about that. I really am. But you know, I have peace. So there's this thing. I have peace about it, but I'm still mad about it.
Yeah.
I mean, I stood over her and was like, you know what? I get that you might have wanted to go on and go, but me and you gonna have a conversation about this when I see you. That's really how I left it. I'm like, we going, because she went to MD Anderson. They had done everything they could do. She had ovarian cancer, and she came to a place of peace about it. And I was like, girl, fight, just fight. And she was tired of fighting. So I also believe she made a choice. And I have to just honor her choice. But I'm mad about it because I'm like, you can still be here. Maybe she could, maybe she not. I don't know. But that's how I get through it. And I still kid her to this day. I'm like, girl, you know you could have done better. Me and you going to really have a conversation when I see you. You have to explain to me, Lucy, why you made that decision. Leave me here by myself. Yeah, it's difficult. So her birthday was the friend that I talked about on the 8th. Her birthday was on the 8th. So, you know, we would have been out of town doing something for her birthday. So, it's hard, y'all. It is hard.
I think what's important what you said when you were talking about, you know, right after the first friend, you know, and people say, oh, you're going to do the eulogy, and you spoke up for yourself. And I think that's something also that's important is to, even if you can't ask for what you need, I was going to give that advice, ask for what you need, but sometimes you don't know what you need, but at least speak up for yourself. You know, if you know you're unable to do something or be somewhere or handle something, you know, let people know. I think, especially with a sudden loss, and you know, in some cases, I think again, you just don't know what you don't know. You don't know what you need. You don't know where you're going to go. You don't know. I mean, you just don't, right? So, and of course, so many people say, you know, let me know how I can help and blah, blah, blah. And one of the things that I didn't do enough was ask for help. And I know in thinking back, I know there were a number of people that have done, you know, planned funeral services, or, of those, there's a lot of little things that go along with it, like programs and flowers, whatever. And I just felt like I needed to do everything. I was just spiraling out of control with task after task after task after task. And I wish I had spoken up more to, even if it wasn't them to take over, but at least say, here's what I want. Can you go order that? Or here's what I want the program to say. Can you type it? That kind of thing. And I don't know. I was literally spiraling. And so I love that you said, no, I'm grieving too. And I need, somebody to support me. Mm-hmm. So I think one thing I pulled out of that for everyone who's listening is, even if you don't know what you want, just take a step back and, take some deep breaths and think about whether it's delegating or even if it's just a no, like a no, I also think what's important too, what helped me was I had people, my grief crew, and we've talked about this. That was the beginnings of my grief crew. I didn't know they were going to become to this day my posse, but I had people, including my husband, who knew what I needed without me even saying it, because they know me so well. And that was important because it was literally, I'm not even lying to you guys, and some of you probably know this, it was hard to breathe. Mm-hmm. And to make phone calls, I couldn't even breathe. Mm-hmm. So people got the call about my mom from my friends and my husband because I could not breathe. I remember I went to, I had to go to Kaiser for something anyway. And I just said, I told them what happened. I lost my mom, a few days ago. I think maybe I was going to the pharmacy or something. I was like, I need some oxygen or something. I'm tripping over here. Like, really? And so, of course, they're like scrambling and stuff. Oh my God, she's going to pass out, whatever. But I literally could not breathe. And to have those people in my grief crew that could speak for me and look at me and say, okay, she needs this. I thought that was really, really helpful and a real blessing because I don't know how anything would have gotten done, honestly. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Right. MCP 812. Yeah. She knew what she didn't want and spoke up. And that's, I think is important. Yeah. And many of us don't, we don't. But that's important even in our early process, is to say no to this or ask for help or speak up for yourself. Because for some people, again, everybody processes it differently. So even those people in your circle right then and there were experiencing the loss too, but maybe they were experiencing it differently and they were going on and doing whatever, but you needed a pause and mm-hmm. you needed to not do the eulogy. You know what I mean? Even though they thought, oh, well, she's so strong and she, she does this and she's a minister and, she prays, she's got a direct connection, whatever. No, you were mm-hmm. processing your friend's loss, the loss of your friend, mm-hmm. In a different way than them. And so sometimes people assume, and this is not being shady because I was that person on the other side. I assumed, and people do this, how people feel. Oh, they lost, have had so much loss, they're fine. Or, oh, well, they're smiling, they look great, they're hopping and bopping, they're up and about, or they're fine, or, oh, they have a strong support team, she can do this or he can do that. We assume, and people assume about us too, about how we're grieving or how we should grieve even, really. And so it is important for us to speak up for ourselves because mm-hmm. no one really knows unless you say, unless you express it as we're doing here, right? But yeah, I appreciate that, Kim, that you shared that. That really stuck with me.
Yes.
Right, John, you're right. It's difficult to ask for help mm-hmm. if you don't feel the people around you are capable of helping the way you need. That's why I said too, I say, even if it's not asking, because for me, I didn't even know what to ask for. Luckily, we had an amazing funeral director in Connecticut. And he just said, where's your mom? Just what do you want to do? Where do you want to fly her back to Connecticut? Tell me what you want. I'll see you when you get to Connecticut. Like, he just handled everything. And everything related to it too, because I had no idea. But in terms of the people around you, you're right. I mean, it is difficult, but at least speak up and say, pause, because that's the other thing too. Now, I've learned this with people, especially people that are kind of like know-it-alls, or, oh, I've done this. I feel like this is like true of like a lot of church secretaries. No shade to y'all church secretaries out there, but they're like busybodies, right? Oh, I'm gonna get so-and-so to sing, and I need that. We're gonna have the B choir, and we're gonna do this, and we're gonna do this, do that. And then sometimes people will go along with it. And I almost got. I almost had the B choir and this singer, this lady that can't sing, because I wasn't thinking. I just wasn't thinking. I was just like blindly like, okay, sure, okay, like just like a zombie, right? Mm-hmm. And then my husband, and another friend in Connecticut were like, no, ma'am, you don't want her. Okay, no. Somebody burn her vocal cords. She's not it. And then they're like the B choir, like they're all like, they can barely stand up. Like, so, but I didn't know. But I'm, in my mind, I'm like the church secretary, like, of course she knows, right? And she was like, and I'm going to do the program, and and the program was like a photocopy on black and white or whatever. I'm like, Carolyn's better than a little black and white. Like, we're going to have like a full blown situation, okay? To me, it would be an encyclopedia. But anyway, But again, I didn't know who could do what I wanted, but I did have enough sense to say, no, thank you. You know what I mean? So, but you're right. It is tough, but I'm glad even though I didn't know who we were going to get to sing, because it wasn't going to be burnt vocal cord lady or the choir that couldn't stand up. I didn't know. Because I've been lived in Connecticut since I was 18, and it's the church where I grew up, but everybody's different. But I did pause it. That's what they said. They were like,
burnt
you don't
vocal lady, and
her vocal cords have been burned up. I'm like, I trusted the church secretary. I'm like, she's the church secretary.
Leave that lady alone. Now. That's one Note Willie's background singer.
Right. Listen, all I know is they were like, you don't want her. So again, because at first I was like, sure, just do it. Just I can't think about it. I don't even know anybody at the church really anymore. Okay, I trust you. You do this all the time. You're the church secretary. Handle it. And then when I told one of my friends who goes to the church and some other folks, they were like, let me make some phone calls, right? So I think it's just I think in that case, maybe where you're not sure the people around you can handle it. I think even if you just do a pause and talk it out, because that's how I found we got the program together, the people to be on the program, the speakers, all of that, by just talking it out, and some people are like, oh, I'm on it. I know exactly what you want. I know exactly who to call, and they handled it. And I didn't even know they could. So you're right, John. I didn't even know they could do that. But by me putting a pause on it, thanks to some advice, then we were able to, to talk it out and figure out where we needed to go.
Because now I'm gonna tell you, my friend Lakita, her biggest dream in all of life was to get married, right? So when we went to the house, they were planning to do a wedding funeral, right?
Okay.
They were gonna have a wedding themed funeral. Now, I was like, yeah, that's not gonna happen. That's the church is not going to allow y'all to now turn this into a, because her business was called Lord, I forgot. She would design she called herself an atmospheric consultant, because you could tell her whatever and she could design the room colors, fabrics, whatever to go along with the theme of whatever it was. Balloons before balloons were ever a thing that we do now. And so they were trying to do all of that for this funeral. And so at the corner of my ear, I'm like, y'all wait, say what now? Y'all
say what now?
Okay, y'all take that to the church and see what they say, but I'm pretty sure they're gonna say no to that. They got a standard program of what we about to do. And y'all not about to turn this into no whole production with her wearing a wedding dress and out. No, we're not gonna do that.
They wanted to have her in a wedding dress?
Listen, they was about to do one of them. Oh, what's that place that does them themed funerals? And this is not that.
Oh my word!
You're not doing that. Her mother's not gonna allow all of that. So just stop all that plotting and planning y'all doing over there in that corner. I did. come out long enough to go over there and be like, y'all stop it. We're not doing all that for this.
That sound like the Bride of Dracula got on a wedding dress.
I'm like, no, crazy. Craziness. Like, no. And the most spiritual one in the group was the one, girl, we need to do a wedding thing. Huh?
Lord.
Sit down somewhere.
Lord.
Over there.
Wow.
So yeah, you all speak up for yourselves, or even if it's not, you don't know exactly what, but at least just vocalize a pause. Yeah,
Merch.
I think that's important. Merch.
Don't write that in one of them books now.
See.
Yeah, I see you, MCP 812. Yeah, thank you for being here. Yeah.
Yes.
So sorry.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, it is pouring down like crazy. Kim, is it raining where you are?
It has come and gone.
Yeah, I think Noah just waved up my window here.
I think I saw him float by earlier.
I'm gonna get in this car and make my way to Captain Boots. I'll be in Discord though, so
okay.
Yeah, but I'm gonna get myself together here shortly. DJ Pifu, hey, good afternoon. This has been great. I appreciate everyone. I love the chat every day, every week. But I appreciate someone thanked me for my transparency, but thank you as well, honestly, because even in typing in a chat on Twitch and we don't see you, it's still vulnerable. And I appreciate you all. It's funny how people have keyboard courage when they talking trash, right? They talking junk to people on Facebook and Twitter, so whatever. And people can do that easily, but I don't think it's easy to do this, for you all to share even what you do, in the chat. So thank you to all of you who shared little snippets, stories, your feelings, your heart. That is tremendous. And that is part of the healing as well, but it's not a given. Sometimes we think, oh, well, they'll just type whatever they want because we can't see them. But I feel like even with grief, like with something so tender, even that sometimes, because I remember, Kim, you said this about the WIM telephone, about just typing, even though you're just typing it, putting it out there, it was just difficult for you to even just put your fingers down on the keyboard or type on your phone or whatever, that message, so I don't take it for granted, all of you who are here and you share, because it's not easy. It's not. So thank you to everybody.
Yes,
thank you, Miles.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, this is a safe place. It is. And your presence here and your comments is evidence of that. We're doing the right thing. Like, we're on the right track, and we've made this a safe space. And I truly appreciate everybody here and coming and sharing. And I feel like the more we've kind of gone on, the more people we have, the more comments we have. I really appreciate it. Right, Joanna G, right? You said you deleted your comments before sharing. Yeah, I mean, it's again, it's weird, right? Like no one knows us, right? Except, I mean, obviously I've met quite a few people on Twitch or whatever, but technically it's just a screen and your words, right? And that's even still hard, but that just shows you the power and the enormity of grief, how vulnerable and sometimes fearful, right? That it makes us feel. So I appreciate you all.
Hey, the Virgin Islands.
From the Virgin Islands. Can I come visit you, child? I need some sand and some water.
One of my best friends lives there. She lived here. I worked with her here at Georgia State, and she moved back home. So she's back home, and she works at the University of Virgin Islands. So yeah, beautiful.
Well, welcome, Lucy. We're glad that you're here with us today.
Absolutely.
Well, I'm going to bid farewell. I'm going to do my wrap up so I can get in this car, because I don't know. Even though Captain Boots School is not far, this rain is pretty ridiculous. So I'm gonna get on the road. But oh wait, Joanna G, that's right. You are from there. Oh wow. Okay, I got you. Wow, that's right. I forgot about that. Wow. Well, thank you for inviting. See, this is what I'm talking about. And listen, people aren't going to invite someone to a stream or a stream like this or a chat if they didn't feel themselves that it was safe. Like you're not gonna bring your friends over, right? To a place that doesn't feel like a safe place. So thank you for that, Joanna. I appreciate that. And to all of you who are hosting, you've told people about us, you shout us out in your streams. We really appreciate that because that's what we want. We want people to come. We want people to feel safe. Even after the first few times, they're like, okay, now I can finally type something. We might have some lurkers out there, but that's why we're here. It's for you to come yourselves, feel safe, and tell other people and bring them in. So we appreciate you, Joanna. Thank you so much. So I will say, as always, you all find the joy in something every single day. Find the joy, chase it, go after it. You are worth it. You deserve it. You deserve joy. Even in the midst of a bad day, even on a high day, whatever you're feeling, you deserve joy every day. So I hope you get that. And I'm gonna, I don't ask for prayers a lot, but I will. Like I said, my mom's birthday is Wednesday. First of all, I start the semester on Monday. I gotta work. But I'm only teaching 2 classes, 2 freshman classes, English 1101. So pray for me and pray for them. Just pray that I get through the week. The week always starts this week anyway, no matter what. So, but yeah, her birthday is coming up, and then 5-year anniversary of her passing is the next day on the 25th. So, yeah, I just appreciate all your positivity and your prayers. But here's the tea, right? I'm gonna be very honest, and I'm gonna stop talking. I asked for that, but I'm gonna be very honest. This is gonna bless somebody out there. I know it is. It's the only reason why I'm saying it, because what's the point otherwise? So I asked for the prayers, right? And I asked for your good vibes, but at the same time, I'm like, is it really going to work? I don't know, right? That's just the shenanigans of me. Again, if you've been on my Instagram or Facebook, you all know shenanigans is my middle name. But that's just how my brain works, right? Because I think about what I just said. I saw in my memories all the prayers. I thanked people for all their prayers and the positivity and the good vibes and everything. And then my mom still passed anyway, right? So, but I'm going to believe that they will go forth and it'll be a good week either way, right? So there's that. Thank you all.
All right. And as I close out, just remember to cut yourself some slack and grant yourself some grace as you journey through grief. Just be reminded we have the Win phone out in the Discord, and that is an opportunity for you to actually leave a message for your loved one. Those things you want to say, the things you didn't say, just to acknowledge who they were, to speak their name, whatever you feel led to put there, that's what it's there for. And you can use it as often as you like, to hold space for how you feel as if you were talking to your loved one. So have a great weekend. CBT, we got you. And yes, they're going to work in Jesus' name.
Amen.
Amen. We'll see you over in the Discord.